Throughout the course of our opening sequence, I'd say that we largely stick with the conventions of a typical action-adventure film. Probably the elements that stick out the most, the soundtrack that we use, the non-diegetic music. That's very up-tempo, and it wouldn't look out of place in an Indiana Jones film. And also the non-diegetic sound effects, they're also very typical, really, because in effect they sort of define the action genre. I mean, they're the kind of things that you hear in Hot Fuzz, Kick-Ass, James Bond, all the films that we've watched. Then pretty much there's been them kind of non-diegetic sound effects. So really, with music, we sort of stuck with the typical conventions. Characterisation wise though, I'd say we probably have challenged it in a way, because the main character is not really muscular like some action heroes are, like Schwarzenegger, like his characters in Terminator, that kind of thing. Indiana Jones, James Bond, it's not like big macho, but it's sort of, because it's not like that, it makes it easier for the audience to relate to the characters. So in a way that works in our favour for our target audience, but it goes against the typical generic conventions. But I think in this case it's a wise decision. Camera angles and shots wise, I'd say we probably do stick to the conventions, maybe perhaps develop on it a little bit though. Like, we begin off with sort of quite sort of sharp, quick cuts in the actual chase bit. Which is quite typical, because obviously you need it to be quite fast paced in order to have the sort of adrenaline rush, which sort of is really the heartbeat of an action adventure film. But we sort of develop on this by sort of slowing down as it goes along, so it sort of in a way it sort of builds down the tension. So like, we spend quite a lot of, for example, we spend quite a lot of time on the close up of the gun. And I think that sort of, the image that's being portrayed in the shot is quite powerful, and it's very typical of an action film, but the way we show it, it's not like quick glance, it's sort of a detailed look of it, which in a way it sort of slows down the pace. It kind of adds to the tension, because you're wondering where this is going from here. But yeah, and I think we sort of develop on that. It's not like quick, like all the way out to like keep it fast paced and keep the tension going. But instead we sort of just make it a little bit slower in that place, just to lull the audience into a sort of false sense of security, sort of thinking, oh yeah, it's the danger is sort of going, but then everything sort of suddenly picks up, and it's like it's the gun, and that creates a sense of enigma. And really, that is what the genre is all about. It needs to be fast paced, it needs to attract the audience, and that really is done with this sense of enigma, because if the audience know what is going to happen, then they're not going to want to watch. And I think really it was very important that we stuck to quite a lot of the conventions of the genre, because if not, then maybe we would lose the feel of the genre, and perhaps people wouldn't think that it is an action adventure film, which obviously it is. But yeah, I think we just needed some of the features in there, because essentially that defines what the genre is about, and I don't think that we really could have sort of gone against them, so to speak. But yeah, largely we stick with it. But I mean, there's a bit of an occasion where we do go against it, and I think that perhaps that's a good contrast, and sometimes it's quite refreshing for the audience to watch something that isn't just straightforward like every other action film. It's just a little bit different, which different sometimes can be good.